With the two major anti-cheat systems being Battleye and Easy Anti-Cheat, otherwise known as EAC, actively supporting Linux since about 2 or so years back, followed by the release of the Steam Deck last year, and Proton improving basically every single day to the point where, for the most part, I don't think about Linux support. I just buy a game and it works. There are some exceptions, but for the vast majority of titles, that's just how it goes. I thought we were in for a really, really positive future for Linux gaming. Yeah, there are companies that even though their game can work on Linux, simply don't want to enable the EAC or Battleye support on Linux. Lost Ark, Destiny 2, PUBG, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, Fortnite, by the developers of EAC. And yeah, there are games that are running Riot's rootkit like Valorant, and yeah, there are some weird games using some of the smaller anti-cheat systems that don't support Linux, but these were a very small, emphasis on small, but also emphasis on very annoying group. But worry not, EA, everybody's favorite company, is here to make things just a little bit worse. Late last year, EA released a deep dive on their new anti-cheat system, known as EA Anti-Cheat, or EAAC, not to be confused with EAC Easy Anti-Cheat. That one works on Linux, so both of these, like you'd expect from a modern anti-cheat system, is a rootkit. Now, on the Linux side, EAC, I believe, runs in user mode, so it doesn't have as many of the protections, so a lot of the cheats end up actually being made for Linux, but the games work on Linux. This one doesn't. This is just kernel mode. I don't like kernel mode anti-cheat, otherwise known as a rootkit, whichever term you want to be using, as much as the next person. But unless you're playing, like, a Valve game making use of VAC, and VAC is VAC, or you're playing a game like FF14, which doesn't have anti-cheat altogether, you're probably going to be installing a rootkit. It is just what we do in modern gaming. The fun part is we're not even pretending they're not rootkits anymore. Player privacy is a top concern of our game security and anti-cheat team. After all, we're players as well. EA Anti-Cheat will only look at what it needs to for anti-cheat purposes in our games and have limited the information EA Anti-Cheat collects. Why is there a double space there? I don't know. If you have a process on your PC that is trying to interact with our game, EA Anti-Cheat could see that and respond. However, everything else is off limits. How do you see if a process is going to interact with the game? Well, you have to pay attention to every process running on the system. That's just how it works. EA Anti-Cheat does not gather any information about your browsing history, applications that are not connected to EA games, or anything that is not directly related to anti-cheat protection. We've worked with independent third-party computer security and privacy services to ensure EA Anti-Cheat operates with data privacy top of our mind. Are we going to show you those results? No. Trust me, bro. Now, the first game they introduced this for was a game that makes EA a lot of money with gambling, your yearly sports game slop, FIFA 23, and had resounding support from the Linux gaming community. How to fix FIFA 23's anti-cheat error. EA kernel-level anti-cheat for FIFA 23 is so badly made that I had to turn off Windows exploit protections to even get the game to launch. Anti-cheat error after new update. I can't launch as well after new update. Remove anti-cheat. Sorry, did I say Linux gamers? I meant Windows gamers, because it was completely broken on the Windows side as well. Even around launch day, there were people talking about how it had already been circumvented. See, the nice thing about EAC and Battleye is there is many, many years of development there. When you make something new, there's always going to be additional bugs that other solutions dealt with a long time ago. And it seems like that's what they had. So, I wish EA the best of luck in that regard, and hopefully nowadays it worked a little bit better and is actually stable. The thing about FIFA is prior to the 2023 release, it worked perfectly fine on Linux. 21 had a silver, 22 had a gold, 23 comes out, it's completely balked. So, after this resounding success amongst the Windows gamers as well, would you at all be surprised that they're expanding the roster of the EAC games? The next game on the chopping block is Battlefield 2042. This is not a new release. They are updating it after the next season. Also, as shouldn't be surprising at all, it's still there in the 2024 release of FIFA as well. So, good luck with that one. My absolute favorite part about this announcement is it's not actually a new announcement. The FAQ is word for word copied from the original Deep Dives FAQ. Like, they didn't rewrite anything. It's the same document. Even down to the mistakes of having random double spaces. Like, nobody reread this document before they released this press release. Now, to be fair, in the Battlefield 2042 case, you are not losing out on anything on the Linux front here. This game previously was using Battleye, which meant it could support Linux. Could is the emphasis there. They did not enable it, so you weren't going to play this game on Linux anyway. The problem is this is just the start. EA probably spent a lot of money developing this anti-cheat system, and if they realize, hey, this thing is actually going fairly well, obviously once they deal with a lot of the bugs of players not being able to play, having their own in-house anti-cheat system is going to give them a lot of control, give them a lot of ability to develop it in the direction they want to go. They might say, this is what we want to use for all of our sub-studios as well. And EA owns a lot of companies. For example, Respawn, the developers of Titanfall 2, but more notably, Apex Legends. And yeah, the series might not be in the best of states right now, but they also own Need for Speed. They have Forza, and if DICE decides to ever make a new one, they also have Star Wars Battlefront. All of these games, multiplayer included, work perfectly fine under Linux. Some games like Apex Legends are even marked as Steam Deck verified. Like, these are games that you can play on Linux with no additional thought. And these are just the notable ones. EA has a giant list of other games. A lot of them are yearly sports game slop that you might not really care about playing, but I would prefer them working than them not working. EA is a massive company, but they're still just a single company. My real concern is if this starts to set a trend amongst some of the others. Yes, you already have Riot doing their Vanguard rootkit thing, and yes, you have Epic doing the EAC thing, but EAC works on Linux. I could see Activision and Ubisoft also developing their own in-house anti-cheat systems for basically the same reason that EA says they're doing it. Third-party anti-cheat solutions are often opaque to our teams and prevent us from implementing additional privacy controls or customizations that provide greater accuracy and granularity for EA-specific game modes. I do not believe this part, but the rest of it does make sense. With EA Anti-Cheat, we have full stack ownerships of the security and privacy posture, so we can fix security issues as soon as they may arise. Also known as, we can deal with cheating as quickly as they can arise. Security on your system, well, that's a whole nother ballgame. And I have serious doubts that either company would really care to make their systems actually support Linux, especially considering that Siege, which is using a system that works on Linux, doesn't enable the Linux support. And that's just talking about the multiplayer games. There have been instances in the past of a single-player game having anti-cheat systems as well, like Watch Dogs 2, for example. Why? Why indeed? I don't know. Or, there are other games like the Halo Master Chief Collection, which has anti-cheat for the multiplayer, which is totally fine. But if the anti-cheat system is not working in single-player, you couldn't collect achievements. Why? I don't know. Achievements don't matter at all. Luckily, those instances are fairly rare. For the most part, you don't have anti-cheat in a single-player game. Unless it's a single-player gacha game. In which case, oh boy, you definitely have anti-cheat. There is a very clear correlation between how much money we can make and how much anti-cheat we should have. That's why FIFA was the place they first did it, because FIFA is probably by far their most popular sports game. People spend a lot of money opening packs. I don't get it, because they do the same thing on every single game that releases every single year. But hey, if that's the thing you want to spend your money on, I'm not going to stop you. I just don't think you should do it. I do not expect this EAC thing to actually go away. So if you're going to buy an EA game, especially if there's an EA multiplayer game, keep in mind that sometime in the future, they might just completely break it on Linux by introducing an anti-cheat system that simply does not work. Now, EA could very well make this system actually work on Linux. Are they going to do that? Well, is the market big enough on Linux to really justify doing that? And whilst it's bigger because of the Steam Deck, it's still a really small market. Think about how many companies care to make the game work on macOS. Linux is smaller than that, so I don't have high hopes here. Maybe one day improvements in Wine will completely eliminate this problem, and games just work on your computer, regardless of whether it's on Windows or Linux. That day is a very long way away if it is ever going to happen, so for now, just be cautious about how you're spending your money. Or maybe go and check out an indie game. I'm sure you'll find something fun, something creative that probably is going to work just fine on Linux, and maybe some of the dev team actually use Linux themselves and actively want it to be supported there. You never know. So, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Do you play any EA games? I think the last one I played was that prison co-op game. I'm forgetting the name. I'll probably show the picture on the screen. I don't know what the last one before that was. Battlefield 3? So for me, it's not like a super big issue. But I know they are popular games. So let me know your thoughts. And if you liked the video, go like the video. And if you really liked the video and you want to become one of these amazing people over here, check out the Patreon, Scribes, and LiberaPay link in the description down below. That's going to be it for me, and I really don't like EA.